You just landed in.
Where are we again? Hello, guys. This is Agi and Monica again. Welcome to our new episode. Today, we are going to talk about the world happiest countries. And the reason why we chose this topic because we were talking about it with Agi, and Agi mentioned that Denmark is one of the happiest country in the world. And I was a bit shocked because, as far as I know, the suicide rate is quite high in the Scandinavian countries. So, what does it really mean to be the happiest country in the world?
Yeah, I think it's very good to clarify some facts about being the happiest country in the world because, as you said, when the first time you hear it, that okay, Scandinavia is leading in this chart, you can be a bit surprised. Like, okay, what does this really mean? How fair is this rating? And yeah, questions like that. So there is a happiness survey, which is specifically called this Gallup's happiness survey, which is started approximately in 2005, and they are comparing more than 160 countries' data. So they are surveying adults, well, adults mainly from the age 15 upwards. And they are having the same questions every year, so approximately 100 questions. But they always raise the same question so they can compare it year on year. And the whole purpose of this happiness survey is to somehow measure well-being, and of course, then there is a purpose of improving that. So this results what we were looking at, and we were actually just looking the most recent ones, or the total from 2024. And we have again another Scandinavian country or Nordic country is Finland leading as number one on
Yeah,
this
the
list.
first one is Finland. Quite surprising.
Very surprising.
And because the suicide rate is quite high there too, or it was really high. Actually, it's declining now. Uh, but yes, it's a bit surprising
Yeah.
fact.
And should we list maybe the top five? And then maybe we can talk a little bit about, so what are those information, what information they compare and make this kind of result and ranking from that. So we have Finland as number one. And as you said,
And Denmark is the second.
exactly. Denmark.
You live in the second happiest country in the world. Ooh.
Yes. And then Scandinavia is quite staying on the ranking on the top. So we have Iceland as the third. Fourth,
Yeah,
another cold country. Guess which one?
Sweden.
Yes, Sweden. And the fifth is the Netherlands. So this is
All the countries with a really bad weather and dark days.
yeah,
Because I mean, I have been to Iceland and it was like, half of the year is just dark, even during the day.
yeah, exactly.
So, and the people are still happy there. So it's good.
Yeah, I mean, happy means, yeah, like, well, they have a good well-being. So some of the things they are asking or they're trying to compare in this survey is very interesting, because when I was looking at the results, one of the highest ratings or good feeling it gave for the people was if they had a chance to help a stranger, or if they volunteered, or if they donated. It's quite interesting because when you can do something good for another person, that gives you a very, very good feeling in your life. And if you have to evaluate your life quality, it puts you in a much higher ranking. So they were actually doing a lot of tests, and I think it was probably flowing on social media as well. Do you know this lost wallet or
This lost
or
the lost wallet test. Yeah, yeah, I've read about
exactly?
it.
So that's
Just you leave your wallet, yeah, and then in the Scandinavian country, they return your wallet with your money in
yeah,
it, not just the empty wallet.
yeah,
But most of the countries, I believe, I don't think it would happen. Maybe they return your empty wallet without your money.
Yeah, yeah. And there is also like when they are kind of checking the outcome of these, there is also they are also questioning what is your perception of of this situation. So if you would lose your wallet, would you think that there is a chance that you could get it back as it was, or which means you are more of a positive minded person, or
Mm.
you think that you're probably never going to see it again? So
Yeah, it's a trust that you trust people
exactly.
actually that they will return, because usually the people are not so positive about that. You assume that, okay, if you lose your wallet, you leave it on a table in a restaurant, you're never gonna see it again.
Yeah,
But in the Scandinavian countries, they have this trust in other people that
yeah.
they're gonna just return it.
You have a
um,
good enough.
they have good social, yeah, good society, good community and social contacts,
Exactly. So
which is really
you don't
important
have
to
to.
be
You
happy.
don't have to steal to have your basic needs, basically. I actually
Yeah.
had an example when I moved to Denmark. Quite in the beginning, I went to a Christmas market, and I didn't even realize that I lost my bank card. I probably paid somewhere and it's probably slipped out of my pocket, or I'm not sure what happened. But I had several bank cards, so I didn't even realize that I lost that one. And that was actually one of the most important card I had. And I was just at home. I remember washing my hair, like just doing my Sunday routine, preparing for the next working day. Then I just got a phone call from a stranger, and I was like, "Hey, this is whatever from Sweden, and I'm on a holiday here in Denmark, and I'm leaving in like 1 or 2 hours. So, but I found your bank card. I went to the bank to figure out who you are. How can I find you? How can I return this to you?" And then they could found
Wow.
your phone number on this public site. So that's how I could had the chance to call you and tell you I'm in this hotel. So if you can come, please pick your bank card up, and then yeah, and then he will leave Denmark pretty much right after that. So I remember I was like, at first I was like, no, I don't think that's mine. It's like, yeah, it's written your name, and is this color? And I was like, oh yeah. And I was checking my wallet, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, that's really mine. I didn't even realize I lost it. So that was actually a very positive feeling that I actually just jumped on the bike and went, picked it up. It was so kind of him that he spent the time on his holiday weekend in Copenhagen to go to the bank to ask information about me so he could return the bank card to me. I mean, it's one thing.
Not too many people would do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that really shows a lot about the society here. Did you had any situation like that you lost something and
Well, I had the opposite actually. That a guy was walking in front of me, and I think he had a lot of money in his pocket.
okay,
So when he was walking, and the money was falling out of his pocket,
serious?
like all over on the road. So and I was walking with my small daughter, and I just saw a lot of money on the road. And it's like, so I just shouted at him and like, oh hey, you're losing your money, and like, oh okay, thank you. So it was the opposite, and I could have just taken the money, because he didn't see, he was just walking, and he didn't realize that he was losing his money.
And that was in Mauritius?
So no, it was in Hungary,
Oh,
it was in Hungary.
okay. Interesting that people are walking with a lot
So
of
I
cash.
gave him back, and he was like, he gave me a small amount of money and said, "Oh, buy a chocolate to your kid."
Oh, that's nice.
So it was.
I
I
remember.
guess he was also surprised that I gave him the money. So
I remember I was also invited that guy for as like, can I pay you a beer or something? And I was like, I was feeling so happy that he gave it back to me. But yeah, that's one
yeah,
of the that's one of the key kind of part of this test, this happiness test. And some of the other things which was on the list were perception of corruption,
Oof, that's an interesting topic,
a strong,
especially Mauritius and Hungary,
yeah, yeah,
because we haven't mentioned actually that Hungary and Mauritius it's quite towards the end of the
yeah,
list, or at least not at a really good position. I think Hungary was 69th position last year, and Mauritius 78th.
and actually not far
So,
from
and
each other,
I
right?
think no, not so far from each other. And actually, I think the main factor could be this point what you mentioned, the perception of the corruption. Because here, I mean, okay, this is Africa, so obviously you assume that there is corruption, and it's a fact actually. So,
Yeah,
so, but also in Hungary, I think there were some other surveys saying that the perception of people about corruption is quite, yeah, they think it's there is a lot of corruption, so they don't. You cannot trust the government.
yeah,
Yeah, like in a Scandinavian country, you trust the government, and even you have really high taxes in, I think, in Denmark. I don't know about the other Nordic countries. You have quite high taxes, but you are willing to pay it because you can see that you're
yeah,
receiving in exchange the service.
in return.
You're receiving a very good education. Education is free, I think. Or is it Finland? I read actually about Finland, which was the happiest country, that education is free and health care also free. So okay, if you deduct the tax, but then you get a good service in exchange. Um,
Yeah,
like, but in other countries maybe you're just paying the tax, but you cannot see what they are spending on.
yeah.
So
Actually, when I look at Hungary's
so
results, one of the main reasons actually they went down is because of the high corruption, or the corruption was one of their problem,
yeah,
and freedom, missing freedom, um, and also this helping strangers, matter of trusting the society.
yeah, yeah, I think you don't really trust the people there. You don't trust the others for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why is it, but
And funny enough, Russia is ahead of Hungary. I'm just looking at Russian Federation is the 66th place. How interesting. Even
okay.
China is before Hungary. China is 68th place. I think that would definitely put the. I'm really hoping that results are looked at by those leaders, and they would think about how to improve it, because ultimately the purpose of these results, and you guys, if you're interested, you can always just look up World Happiness Report on Google, and it's going to take you to the website, and you can search for the country and search for the year to see the results. Um, but I think it helps you to give so much like understanding of what are the weaknesses of the country where you live, and then maybe it can help you to think about how to improve it, because there is a lot of discussions about, okay, we have these, let's say, top 5 countries, but why are they there? What are they doing different? And then if you look at, because almost all the Scandinavian countries are there. Actually, Norway is also it's the 7th place. Costa Rica kind of jumped in there, the only kind of warm country in between the Scandinavian countries. But in Scandinavia in general, even though there is no sun, the system is very strong, and the social connection and society as part of a trust and a support system is extremely strong there. Um, that's something I believe the rest of the countries could learn from, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and also I think the people's attitude also a bit different, because they don't want to be like super rich, because it's not about all about money.
Yeah.
Because you think, okay, if you have money you are happy, but it's not true. Okay, if you don't have money, usually you are unhappy. But if you have a certain amount and you have a good standard of living, you're not going to be happier if you have more and more and more money, and you if you have five more cars or a bigger house. After a certain point you're not going to be happier just because you have more money. And I think because even the US is quite not in a good place, because you would expect, okay, US has a really strong economy, people are living a good life, high standard of living, so should be happy. But I think they're just pursuing this, that, oh, I want to get richer and richer, and they just work work work
Yeah.
because they want to be like richer and richer. But and then you just miss out your whole life because you're just working and you don't find your happiness. And I think the Nordic countries, because I've read that there it's more uh, of like not too much inequality, like there are no like super poor people and super rich people, it's more like a middle. So and you are happy with that because you have a good life, and you have a really good work life
Yeah.
balance. You always mentioning about work life balance,
Yeah.
that maybe you work less hours, but you're more productive in that less hours because you are not stressful. You know that you will have your after work you will have your life. Meanwhile, the other side is when you just work work work, you're stressing out, and after a certain point you are not even productive, and you are stressful, and obviously you cannot be happy like that, even if you maybe you make more
Yeah.
money, but you're not happier.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, that's absolutely correct. And there is actually, I actually have a book, by a Danish author about happiness. It's because they were number one for quite many years, and they were writing about why. So first of all, actually, in the Danish episode, we didn't even talk about hygge, and hygge is a big thing in Denmark, which means anything cozy. You create a cozy corner if it's dark. You light a candle. You put some very comfortable music on. Anything to make life cozier. So they're very much into the cozy things. And then the other things of happiness, or the perception of happiness, actually, which is part of this book, is that they believe that the more things you have, the more trouble it will bring and takes away more freedom. So the bigger the house, the more it requires to clean and maintain. The bigger the garden, again, the more it requires to maintain and clean. Same with the car. It will cost even more money to take it to service. And, you know, all of all of those things we collate in today's world, in this extreme materialism, it actually takes away freedom, free time from us, and even more money. So, does those
Yeah.
extra things actually bring happiness to you? So, they believe actually in the mark that let's just get as big space as needed, because then you don't need to worry about it. It's all about not to worry about your home or your car or how much you pay for it. It's just practicalities. Let's make sure that the practical solutions are there for your everyday life, but it's not about having the fanciest things or the biggest things, which I actually quite love. And it's the same with like, and clothing has nothing to do with it, but I just love the fact that it's not part of the culture to wear these high heels and extremely uncomfortable fancy dresses all the time in the office, or wherever you go. People go out in dresses and sneakers, and I love that because it's so comfortable, and because everyone is doing it, it's kind of a trend. So you can be comfortable and not to worry about how you look. It's just the whole country is so casual, and it's all about real life. Like we don't there is no pretentiousness. It's all about what you enjoy and how what one makes you comfortable. And I quite love it. And then of course it helps a lot that there is a very strong system there which allows you to to change, for example, occupation. So you studied a particular field, let's say finance, but you say, I actually realize this is really not for me. I really would love to do something completely different. And let's say from tomorrow I'm going to be an interior designer. Then the government is going to support you for 2 years to study a completely new field. You will get like a monthly support. So you can spend time studying, and then they will also help you getting a job as a new kind of learning or study. They will help you to get into a new job which you decide to choose, which is again an extreme amount of support that you should do what you really love doing. And that's the thing with the same with the job. You we probably more efficient because we love doing it. We don't have this enforcement that you have to do it, and you have time for your private life and for your family. So when you go in, you actually like going in, and you're happy to see your colleagues, and you're happy to work on the work you do. So it's completely changing the whole game. um,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
good that you have the opportunity to, okay, you try this job and you don't like it, you don't like finance anymore, and yeah, you want to be a teacher, and then you have the
yeah,
possibility, okay, I start all over again, I go to school, and you got some support, some money, so you can do that.
exactly,
You don't work for few years, just study, and then you can just start a new job. So
exactly.
because for example in Hungary, I cannot imagine this situation. I mean, some people do it, but it's really hard, because you cannot just leave your job, and if you don't have any income, then how?
Yeah,
So
it's going back to the
yeah,
safety.
I think all the Nordic countries has something like similar. You have a free education, right, in
Completely
Denmark?
free education, yes. I mean, that's also a big thing because I think in a lot of the countries, you start your life with pretty much a debt. And then what is your
Yes.
chance that you get rid of the debt and then you can start saving up for your own home or your own car? It's like an endless circle because it feels like you're never gonna get out of
Yeah.
debt. That's
Yes, because most of the countries you have to go to a private school to have a good
yeah.
education, because the governmental school are not good enough. But in Denmark, you have a high level of education, so so you can just study for free. So it's a big opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yes, this GDP per capita is a big part of this survey as well. So of course, depending on the state of your home country, it also has a big impact on this result because of course the better, the more secure you feel. So that's a big part of this result. So another thing
yeah.
is part of this
Well,
here.
actually,
Sorry, you can go
yeah,
ahead.
I don't know. I was just gonna say about Mauritius that I feel here like all the people look like really, they're not stressed. They seem happy. But I mean, happiness is quite subjective. But I guess, yeah, if you talk about like, because they are very poor people here, like the local ones. So I guess because of that, if they okay, they got this survey, they not gonna yeah, and all the corruption, and obviously it's a developing country. I mean, the infrastructure is not so good. I mean, the roads, and there are no lights, not much lights. It's dark, and so. But otherwise, when I arrived, I see like friendly and friendly and no stressing people, like happy people. That was my
Yeah.
perception. But yeah, regarding these, yeah, factors actually, because obviously economy here is, I mean, I'm not sure, but obviously the a lot of poor people here, and there is a huge gap between the foreigners or the expats coming here and the local people,
Yeah.
and I think it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I guess for the locals, it's not so good. They feel like, okay, everything is getting like more expensive because of the expats who has more
yeah,
money and they make more money, they have their businesses, or they are working for international companies and they have more money, and that's why everything is just getting more expensive, and for them it's just really hard to pay for these things. So yeah.
yeah. But in those countries,
And
actually, because another thing which was part of this survey is that it matters a lot if you have joint meals, like dinners, for example, with your family. If you eat together on a regular basis, that again improving your well-being, which is something
yeah,
free to do, right? It's a matter of a habit or a choice that this whole strong social home environment as well, not just the outside, but also home, that you're not alone. You don't lock your door and eat alone, but you sit together and have a conversation together by having dinner, for example.
yeah, these human
Yeah.
interactions are, yeah, it's really important. Even I don't know, I guess you heard about these blue zones where they have the high life expectancy, and also one of the factors is this social interactions and community, and to rely on each other, and yeah, family eating together,
Yeah.
having fun together. So it's really important. I think it's an important factor for
Yeah.
happiness, for sure.
Yeah. And then it was also part of like these urban green spaces, like how much green space you have, because it's so important. Also, part of being happy is to go to nature, to take those walks, get to the fresh air, because again, that's improving your well being. And I think that's also quite a big thing in the Scandinavian culture, to go out for a walk, go for a bike ride, and you are biking through nature again and get some fresh air. And again, nature has such a power on us humans that it's kind of relieving the stress and just calming you down. And again, that's something you can do for free. It's a matter of a habit or a tradition. Do you do this on a regular basis? There are opportunities there.
Yeah,
And I was also a big learning, because we cannot always just point back to the state, but it's also a big learning for us as individuals. Like, what do we do for our own happiness? I think it requires quite some maturity, because there are so many things thrown in our way nowadays that it's very hard to select, okay, what is actually good for me? Is it going to be a real well-being for me, or is just some marketing idea dropped in my face? So I will just do it for the sake of that advertisement having an impact on me. Um,
yeah.
Actually, there is,
Nowadays it's really hard with the social media.
yeah, very hard. There is like a New York Times bestseller author. His name is Brandon Bouchard. I was following him since quite some time, and he has a lot of like these short videos on YouTube. When and he's like a motivational speaker or a life coach, and he's talking about happiness, like how to be happy. I mean, it's such an untangible information, like how to be happy. And actually, he's talking a lot about these common sense. There are a lot of common sense in it, but we just don't bring those things in practice, like eating healthy, go out to nature, avoid too much caffeine or sugar or junk food. It's go and work out a bit. So there are a lot of like common sense information there, but it's all about the mindset of bringing into our everyday life, and also like building a mindset to be able to be excited about the smaller things, like, okay, today I'm gonna meet with my friend, so let's look forward to that day. Or oh my god, today I'm gonna
Just
make
be happy about small
small
things.
things, like, oh my god, I'm gonna
No,
make a
just
nice Italian pasta for dinner.
appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Be- I think it's a problem that we always want more and more,
Yeah,
and then we forget to appreciate the small things we have.
yeah,
And then nowadays it's quite hard, yeah, with all the social media, and we are always in a hurry, and you have a lot of work, and you are stressed, and you have the kids, and a lot of problems. So it's hard. I mean, it's easy to, oh, you just need to eat healthy and good, but it's just with a busy life, it's kind of hard to just stop and think about that, and just walk a little bit, and just focus on the good things.
Yeah, yeah.
Not so
It's
easy.
a learning I think we all should think about and not underestimate, because I think a lot of people underestimated that. Oh, oh my God, like they saying to me again not to drink too much coffee or not to eat that cake or candy or whatever. But I think if you bring certain things in your routine, it can have quite an impact. It's just a matter of you either being stubborn and you don't want to do it, then don't be surprised that you're not going to feel completely good in your skin, or you do it and then you will start to feel better. I mean,
Yeah.
I know in person, like, it's so hard sometimes to get yourself to the gym or exercise, even just take out uh, a video at home and do a yoga or whatever. The first step is always very hard, but once you do it, then you are in the motion, and then afterwards you just feel so much better and you almost feel like completely energized. Your mood is turning happier. You're feeling just completely better in your skin. It's again going back to the
Yeah, for
basics.
sure.
It's like no one is selling here anything secret here. It's such a common sense knowledge.
Yeah, you can just go out running, it's free,
Yeah, exactly,
so
exactly.
you don't have to pay for expensive gym if you don't want. So
Exactly. So it's all about our own choices, I think, and not to wait necessarily for someone to do the good choices for us. It's us, we can do it. And also, I think what actually this author Brandon Burchers was talking about is that you can actually, like, the beautiful part of being a human is that we can decide that from today for tomorrow I'm going to be a completely different person. From tomorrow, maybe I'm gonna be a super happy person or a super social person. Maybe I didn't like to hang out with people, but I will put the energy in there. And then let's see what it's gonna bring out. And maybe you're gonna be a completely different person and you're gonna love it. And it's so easy because it's all up in our head. It's just one choice.
yeah, so people who are listening to us, from tomorrow you can decide, you can have a new life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can make your own choices and you can make a difference for yourself if you want. So yes, I think it's definitely very interesting information. I could encourage you guys to listen, and we are looking forward to the next results. But I'm wondering if anyone will be able to beat the Scandinavian countries from the top ranks.
uh, I don't think so. For a few years, I think they're gonna be there. The other countries need to change something. For sure.
Yes, and actually, just some other interesting facts. So the UK, some of the biggest countries, landed on the 23rd place, and the US on the 24th place.
Yeah, and then declining, actually.
Yeah,
UK is declining year by year. So, and I think the suicide rate is increasing. So,
yeah, and actually, they said that just because you are on the top on this list, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have high suicide rate. It's maybe also going back to the fact of expectation that if everyone has a good life and feeling happy, and if you have like a struggle or a problem for yourself, it feels so much bigger because then just simply everyone is having a good life, and you're just surprised why it's not me. Why am I'm an exception?
yeah. If
Um,
everyone is happy around you,
yeah.
you're expected to be happy, but you're not happy, and then you feel more depressed.
Yeah. So, in case you guys are questioning, it's possible that you are on the top list and you still have high suicide rate, unfortunately. Yes.
Yeah.
And then another interesting part, just before we closing the session of Israel is on the eighth place, quite high up on the ranking. which is another interesting one.
Yeah, but it's from last year, so maybe
Yes,
you check it now. It's not
yeah.
really.
2025 is coming out soon. We will check it out, guys, and let you know. And if you're really interested in a particular country, we can also share some more information about your interested countries as well. Yes. Anything else we would
Okay.
mention about this? I think we quite walked it around. And
Yeah.
if someone is interested, you
We
can.
can put the link
Yes.
under the video about this survey so
Yeah.
you can check it
And
out
now we got some clarity as
if you are
well.
curious.
What does this really mean? Because there was a little bit of question. What does it mean to be the happiest country in the world? Can you be happy if you are in a
Yeah,
dark, cold
because
country?
it's kind of subjective. I
Yeah.
mean, to be
Yeah.
happy, it's just not so easy to
Yeah.
measure happiness.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But we learned something
okay.
today. Very nice.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yes.
So, thank you for listening to us and see you next
Thank
time.
you, guys.